Hi, welcome to this Thanksgiving edition of the J-Karp Show. I'm J-Karp, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's a wonderful time of year, the holiday season. This just gives me great joy. Now, we got 3 football games going on this Thanksgiving Day. And I'm going to go through them all and give you my predictions on them. First, we have the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans. Texans playing at Detroit. I'm going to go with Houston, and here's why. Detroit at the beginning of the year was predicted to be a playoff contender, maybe even the division winner. Right now, they're in the division cellar right now and aren't looking to get out of it anytime soon. And the Texans are still red hot despite barely beating Jacksonville last week, 43-37 in overtime. They still have such an electric offense and defense. Lions won't get past them, so I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. Next, we have the Washington Redskins at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this game is actually a little more tougher to pick because both teams had their ups and their downs. Romo, the league leader in picks. Then you have the Redskins, who were red hot at the beginning of the year, but have really mellowed down a lot and aren't going to be making the playoffs this year. RG3 is one of the top 2 candidates, along with Andrew Luck, for Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. And it's going to depend on which quarterback makes the playoffs, in my opinion, that's going to win that award. But personally, I actually think the Dallas Cowboys will pull out a win in this one. They have a solid team. Their offense is very balanced. With Des Bryant, Miles Austin, Jason Witten, they have a good receiving core. And I just see them beating the Redskins. But, everybody, look out for the upset, because you never know what's going to happen. Our final game we have is the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. The New York Jets came out of nowhere and beat the Rams pretty bad last Sunday. After a week of just media frenzies all around the camp, all involving Tim Tebow and whether Mark Sanchez is competent enough to play. Well, it was proven he can. And the Jets pulled out a 30-13 win over the St. Louis Rams, which kind of disappointed me. But the Patriots are still going to win this game because they're still too much of an offensive juggernaut to be shaken up by the Jets, who still really don't have any good playmakers besides Cromartie on defense. So look for the Patriots to win this game. So my official picks, Texans, Cowboys, and Patriots. Now I'm going to talk to you about last week and concussions in the NFL. Last couple weeks, plenty of starting quarterbacks have been hit with concussions. Jay Cutler, Alex Smith, Mike Vick, and even, all these quarterbacks getting hit with concussions. So then you bring in Jason Campbell. Well, Ben Roethlisberger didn't get a concussion. He hurt his shoulder, but still. All these QB injuries will put it. So they put in backups Brian Leftwich, Jason Campbell, Colin Kaepernick. And Monday Night Football last Monday, it was actually the Bears and Niners, and Kaepernick did a whole lot better than Campbell did. Even though Campbell's a former first round pick, 30-plus years old, good experience, didn't matter. But the NFL, who claims to have lowered the risk of concussions, really that took a big hit this past week with all the injuries that have been happening. And recently, All-Star safety Ed Reed was handed a 1-game suspension that is now reduced to a $50,000 fine, which got a lot of criticism because they give too much sympathy to defensive players. Earlier in the year, however, Brian Cushing, who got hurt against the Jets by a cheap shot, claimed that too much sympathy was being given to offensive players. I think it goes both ways. It really depends on who the person is. Obviously, if James Harrison's going to hit somebody hard, it's going to be a penalty and a fine, and then he's going to whine for 5 years and then quit. But, personally, NFL's really got to figure this out. They got to figure out what they're going to do with these injuries. You can't prevent injuries. Injuries are going to happen in football, whether you like it or not. They can happen in the first snap of training camp. And there's nothing you can do. You can do things that will lower the risk. But if you tell somebody to pay a $50,000 fine, is that going to bring them back any sooner? No. The NFL needs to enforce rules better than just fines and suspensions, because those aren't going to heal injuries. Those are just going to mean less players are going to be playing in the game. Former Bears quarterback Jim McMahon actually says because of all of his concussions he suffered during his career, he actually has early onset of dementia. Well, I think that's horrible when you're only in your 50s and you're suffering from dementia, a disease that really should be hitting people, in their 80s and 90s. Which shows you how degenerative the brain gets after taking too much trauma to the head. Of course, players' careers have been affected by football. People's lives have been. Eric LeGrand, the Rutgers lineman, he was actually thankfully drafted by the Buccaneers. He got hurt. He got paralyzed. But he's still an inspiration. He won an award at the ESPYs. He made a speech and everything. Football was and is his life. It's just the price you gotta pay. But if the NFL wants to get rid of the criticism they receive on a daily basis, they're going to have to step up a notch and prove that their sport is both hardcore, physical, but that you're not going to break your neck when you're in the middle of the field. Because there were some pretty big shots. For example, when Brian Ruffwich, near the end of the game, took a sack on one of the corners. Nobody even saw it coming. Not even Leftwich saw it coming. But it looked like he got damn near broken half. Which just proves, and he was hurt. And it proves just how bad the NFL can be. And I'm not saying pad everybody up and all these bubble wrap and everything to be safe. I'm saying either the NFL finds a way to lower the risk of injuries, or stop saying they're going to lower the risk of injuries. Because right now, they're not doing a good job of it. It's football. Injuries happen. I had a friend on my football team who broke his tibia and his fibula. It was horrible, but it happened. And he loved the game. Bottom line is, NFL, don't say what you can't do. That's all I can really say about that. So that's this rant. And then there's a couple little quick hits I'm going to get. First, Jonathan Joseph is out right now for the Texans against the Lions. And right now the Lions are actually winning 7-0. Now, also, for those of you that are Steelers and Ravens fans, last week at the end of the game, Ray Rice took a terrible towel, one of the iconic towels that the Steelers fans wave around all the time. Well, it really pissed off Lamar Woodley. And Ray Rice had this towel draped over his head while walking up the field. Well, see, there's a few things you don't do in life. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spin into the wind. You don't pull the mask off that old Lone Ranger. And you don't mess around with the terrible towel. But Ray Rice says he did not mean any disrespect. He actually asked the fan, he says, to trade, like I've been trading jerseys with guys at the end of the game, he said, quote, via the Baltimore Sun. He didn't stomp on it or do anything wrong. He walked out with it. He's going to save it, put it in his basement, and cherish the rivalry. It's not like you get out there and do derogatory stuff and spit. None of that stuff. If you think about it, where I'm at in my career, you cherish these rivalries, cherish the moments. That was a quote by Ray Rice on taking the towel. Now, there's one thing I do want to clear up before we leave. It's Chris Collinsworth on NBC. When Chris Collinsworth took John Madden's place on NBC Sunday Night Football, the first thing I thought was, wow, he sucks. I didn't like him at first. But as the years have gone on, become more accustomed to it and everything, I think he's a damn good announcer. He's probably one of the best. Him and Al are the best announced team in football right now. Him and Al Michaels. I mean, I've always wished I could get the opportunity to someday maybe announce with Al Michaels. But if I can with Chris Collinsworth, I'll do it too. So I start to retract the old things I said about Chris Collinsworth and all of them, because with NFL Sunday Ticket, I get to watch all the other football games. And hearing some of the announcers on that game, Trust me, Alan Michael and Chris Collinsworth are no doubt the best. They know what they're saying, they're very knowledgeable, and they keep me interested in the game. Even if it would be a complete blowout, like when the Packers were blowing out the Texans, they kept me into the game, they kept me watching the game, because they have charisma. They're both outstanding announcers. I still think John Mann's, of course, better than Chris Collinsworth, but you know what? Chris Collinsworth's still a good announcer now. So he's won my respect. So, trust me, I've seen most of these football games. Al and Chris, it's true. I guess it's true what Faith Hill says. Al and Chris are the best on TV. Okay, that about does it for this episode of the J-Karp Show. Hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Remember, live by the 3 F's. Family, food, and football. You can also like me on Facebook on the J-Karp Show and J-Karp's NFL Updates to get the latest news, scores, and updates. I'll catch you guys later.